Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. So this morning when I woke up, I found it very hard for me to record even the first episode because of this other confession that I was given yesterday about this other young lady. The message that I received, it was saying that this young lady, I will hide her age because she's way underage. So it is suspected that her stepfather and the mother, they are into some sort of like rituals that they are doing, and there is some abuse that is taking place. This young lady is being abused by her own stepdad, and the mother allows this to happen. So they are into a lot of rituals as well as into a lot of traditional healing stuff. So I was really feeling depressed. So yesterday when I did another episode, I then asked if there are any guys that work with at least with the CID department in Zim, and I want to thank God that there is one who has came, so I have forwarded the information to them, and I hope that it is going to get sorted out. It is really painful knowing that this young girl, wherever she is, she's like being held hostage. Strange things do happen in this world. So the following message that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our admins, and the message reads like this. Good morning, Brother Nashi. My father and mother are weird people. These are my parents that I am talking about, to be precise. They are wicked people, and I have never seen people who love money like them and are willing to do anything for money, even up to an extent of sacrificing their own family members. I do come from Nigeria, and it all began a few years ago when I was only 16 years old. My father's sister came from the village, and she was not well. Since my dad is like the breadwinner, everyone in the family looked up to him for all the financial help, but at that time they didn't have too much riches. They were ordinary people. My auntie came, and I was so excited to have her since I was the only child staying with the parents. Others were in varsity. Auntie's health deteriorated, and she kept on going to the hospital, and all the tests would come out negative, but looked like something was eating her up from the inside. I loved this woman's brother. Yes, I loved this woman, Brother Nashi, and she looked like me. My parents, they had this Indian doctor friend, and he would come home to help and even sometimes to take her to his surgery. One strange thing was that my parents would talk to that Indian guy for a very long time, for very long hours. And one day I went and I stood right next to the lounge door, and I heard the doctor friend saying, "It will be over soon and you will start growing in all aspects of your life. Did you do all that you were instructed to do?" My parents said yes, and I left confused but never suspected anything. A few days later, as we were in my room, I heard my auntie, she was making quite a loud sound as if there was someone who was there with her, as if she was being choked up. And I quickly woke up and elevated her head, and I tried everything, Brother Nashi. I gave her some water, but she continued to choke till she took her last breath. All this while she acted as if she was fighting with someone, and she held her neck, and she then screamed. She was screaming like, stop it, stop it." That was it. It's like she was seeing someone who was choking her, because she really fought for her life. When all of this happened, my parents were not home. I quickly covered her with a blanket, and I thought that she slept. Little did I know that she had passed away. This was somewhere around 8 p.m. I did my homework, and I went to check on my auntie, whom I thought was sleeping at that time. She was still sleeping, and I also joined her because I had exams the following day at school. Within a few minutes, I opened my eyes and saw my mom and my dad tiptoeing into our room, and both of them, they were like wearing these dark black gowns. Next, I saw two guys, and then I became very weak and I went into sleeping mode, but my eyes were kind of like open. Everything was blurry. I couldn't see properly, but these two guys worked at that Indian doctor's practice, and I saw them lift my auntie. This was quite shocking, and they opened, those small ceiling doors whereby if you want to go into the ceiling inside the roof, there is that small trap door. So this trap door, it was inside the room that I used to share with my auntie. When I woke up, I saw those two guys. They were busy struggling, and they wanted my auntie's body to enter into that roof. My dad then climbed up the ladder and followed. What they did to her, I don't know, but I started to smell something that was like some incense that were being burned. I tried to lift my hands up and I could not do anything. It was as if sleep paralysis had gotten hold of me, as if they had injected me with some heavy drug. After a few minutes, they then lowered my auntie. This time around, it was like my auntie's body was just lifeless because they dragged her down from the roof using a rope. After a few minutes, Brother Nashi, then my parents removed their black gowns. Now everything cleared, and as I woke up, those two men then put my auntie on a stretch bed and they left. And my mom started to cry her lungs out, and they told me that my auntie had passed away. This was after I had seen this weird ceremony that they had performed. I couldn't understand what was happening. Did I really see them in the ceiling with my auntie? Now the pain was too much to bear. I loved her. She was too close to my heart. My world came down and I was weeping. A few days later, as we prepared for burial, the night before the body was brought home again, this time my entire family was there, and we had a service after that. We all prepared to sleep as tomorrow was the burial day. The body was put in a separate room and we retired for the night. It's around 3 a.m. My sleep just finished and I woke up. As I woke up, something said, just go outside. So I went outside. I found myself walking outside, then went on to the window of that room where the body had been put, and I saw that same Indian doctor, my parents, and those two boys that worked in the mortuary. They washed my auntie's body and they took the water, and I saw my mom using that same water that was inside this very small bucket that they had used to wash my auntie's dead body, and she started to wash her face. Then my dad also washed his own face, and they didn't dry their faces, and they went down where incense was being burnt and they placed their faces there whilst smoke started to cover all of their bodies. I had never seen something strange like this, and my mom was crying, feeling very sorry the following morning, and I knew that these people were up to something, but at that time I didn't know what it was to be exact. But I stopped crying and lost interest in my parents. It is only now that I am old, and now everything is making sense, Brother Nashi. My parents became rich overnight, and our lives were transformed in a short space of time. But now that I look back, every year a family member will die, but my parents will not attend their funeral. These family members, I mean like the brothers and the sisters, this year if someone will die on my mother's side, then the following year it will be from my father's side. Brother Nashi, my parents will not attend the funeral but will send money, and my mom once mentioned that she is not allowed to see dead bodies. This started after my auntie had passed away, and to think that, Brother Nashi, my father, when he heard that his sister was sick back home in Nigeria, he had to send a lot of money. They had to spend a lot of money so that my auntie can get a medical visa. She died here in South Africa. And my father then started to collect most of his relatives from Nigeria, bringing them to South Africa. Since my father is from Nigeria, then my mom is from South Africa. So a lot of my father's relatives, whenever they will come here, they'll end up dying, getting really sick. Most of them, it will be like cancer or HIV. That is the kind of a disease that will kill my father's relatives. On my mother's side, they will suddenly die. Then we will be told it is because of high blood pressure, a stroke, or heart disease. The night that my auntie died, they both washed their faces with water. It was for business, so that they will get so many clients, just like the masses who attended the funerals. They say business people was with dead men to attract clients. Life went on, Brother Nashi. I have never been married, and now I am 40, and looks like my parents did something to me that day that my auntie passed away. If I ever date any men, they will always leave me the following day and just disappear. Till I asked some guy who ghosted me at varsity, later called him and asked him if there was anything that was wrong with me, and he told me that the same night after our date, he was chased by a big snake that kept on saying, leave my wife alone. I didn't know about this. I made a follow-up with 5 other guys who told me the same story, and the snake will be very angry. Meanwhile, every night I feel like I am sleeping with someone, and every morning when I wake up, Brother Nashi, what happens to me is that when I look at my underwear, it will be filled with some black stuff on the center of my panty. I asked my mom if this was normal. Since I still live with them, I am not allowed to go and rent my own apartment, as rich as my parents are, but they do not allow me to go and stay anywhere else. Now I am an adult, but I am still staying with my parents. As for my dad, he hides behind the fact that since he is like from Nigeria, he says that he does not want me to have the culture of the South Africans. This is what my dad told me. So he is always strict with me. He always notices my movements. There was even one point in time when he would say, bring me your phone. Then he will scroll over my phone. If he will find any number that belonged to a boy, he will delete it. But even though he's a strict parent, my dad allows me to go out clubbing. He says, go and relax. It is like he knows when I am out there clubbing, no man is going to want to sleep with me, because maybe men, they found me to be very disgusting. Brother Nashi, I don't even know what is going on with my life. Upon speaking to other ladies, I have been told that it is not normal for a woman to have this discharge that is like grayish in color. It is not normal at all. There is a lot of weird stuff that happens at our house, and there is a room even that I am not allowed to enter. Every year or two, the maid will just leave or disappear for no apparent reason. Yes, I have my own car, I have my own allowance, and I am not allowed to go to work, but I manage one business, but I can't get married. I also want a life of my own. I am very beautiful. I am a very beautiful lady, but it looks like my parents did something to me, and I am about to surprise them. I feel like I just need to run away. Maybe if I run away and go to a place that is very far, maybe I am going to release myself from this charm that my dad and my mom used on me. Oh, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our admins of our dear sister right there, who is saying that her dad is from Nigeria, her mom is a South African, and these are the rituals that they did. Just imagine calling your sister from your country, bringing her to South Africa, then she gets sick and she dies. Now all of your relatives that you bring into South Africa, they die. So if this year the father sacrifices one of his family member, the next year it is the mother. Strange things that people do for the sake of money.